Joining in real time. We're back home from Florida. We are feeling good being back home. And I am so excited to talk to you today about the specific focus for today's weekly sales supercharge is how to break six figures in 2022. And so if you are joining live, I would love if you have questions on this. Go ahead and ask them. I am here to help support you. I love for those of you who are here live. Hey, Delana, good morning. Good morning. I love talking with you about this. And here's the other thing I'll say is the strategies and what we talk about today. Yes, is it about breaking six figures this year? Yeah, but can you use the same strategies to get to multiple six or seven? Yes, absolutely. And I know we talk a lot about money on these live streams because it's something I'm passionate about, is empowering you to have more abundance and more financial flow and resources in your life. Because at the end of the day, it's not really about the money though. It's about the freedom that it creates for you and the ability that it creates to live out your life and to also create greater impact in the world. And I literally just before this live stream was watching some messages from we've got our 50K club has a group Marco Polo that all the women connect in and talk in. And one of the women was talking about the vision that one of her clients has of creating free energy for 1 billion women on the planet. And I got so inspired listening to that vision. And what we were talking about with this group was like, you've got to have to be able to do that. You must have resources, you must have flow, you must have abundance. So whether your version of abundance is six figures, is seven figures, is 8, 9, 10, I don't care. Today, we're talking more specifically about breaking six figures, but this will apply regardless. And it's so important for you to be empowered with the resources you need in your life to create not only your next level lifestyle, because that's important, but also to be able to go out and impact the world in the way that you want to. So I just want to take a moment. I'm so glad to see those of you who are here live. Lisa, I think that's how I pronounce your name. Good morning. Jen, good morning. Nancy, good morning. And then as always, if you're joining on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, please pop me a comment and let me know you're here. And here's what I would love to know from those of you who are live too. What is your question on hitting your income target this year? And again, it can be six figures, it can be more or less, I don't care, but what's your number one question, or what's the number one challenge that you're bumping up against right now? And if we have time on the live stream, I can do a bit of coaching you through it, but that's what I want to know in the comments today. So there's these are three mindset shifts that you have to make if you want to make six figures or more this year. Number one, you got to stop making money wrong. You have to stop making money wrong. And I want you to just check in with yourself and see, is there any part of you that is making money wrong? Now, growing up in the society that most of us grew up in, for most of us, there is part of us that makes money wrong. And I don't want to speak for you. Maybe you've got a super healthy relationship with money, which is beautiful if you do. I feel like I do now. I definitely didn't for a long time. But is there any judgment in your heart or in your mind against people who have financial resources? Is there judgment? Is there any of the old conditioning of rich people are greedy, money doesn't grow on trees, money is scarce? Like, check in on that and look at that in yourself. Because if there is, I'm telling you right now, you're making it harder on yourself than you need to. That one mindset shift there. And it took me a while to be able to say out loud things like, money, I love you and I appreciate you. Like, I'm so grateful for you, because that in our society is deemed wrong. That in our society is deemed like, oh, you're greedy or you have your priorities out of whack. And it's not. When you come at it from the energy that I'm talking about here, that's not what it is. It's truly the appreciation and gratitude for money, just as you would have for a friend in your life, for a family member in your life who wants to be with you and wants to help support you. But that's why with my clients, I do so much work and conditioning at the beginning on money mindset, Because if you want more money, which I'm imagining you do if you're here, most of us do, right? But you think that there's any shame in that, or you think that you're going to outshine somebody else, or you've got judgment on people who have a lot of money, guess what? You're not going to do it. You're going to self-sabotage. You're going to come up with reasons not to. So that's the first thing, is you have to stop making money wrong. Let me just pause and check comments. Oh, Nada, so good to see you. Yes, we're on a Monday schedule. We're back to doing weekly lives on Mondays. Scott, oh, my neighbor. Very cool. Good to see you. Goal is 7 figures. Beautiful. In 2022, did in another career once in 2003. My friend, I love it. You can totally do it. I'm actually recording a podcast next week after, on what I learned from my first 7-figure year. And so I would invite you to listen to that, and you've done it before too, which is great. And these principles apply for the 7-figure mark as well, for sure. Lisa is saying, I'm in travel and people are so hesitant to travel right now. I don't need them to travel, just book it. Yeah. So here's what I would say with that. I would be, and I appreciate you sharing that too. Thank you so much. I would just get very flexible with how the money is meant to come in. And I would look at, this is where I would invite you to, it's always about your own spiritual connection, right? But to look at, connecting with your higher power and asking, like, I have this vision in my heart. I have these desires, and these things cost a certain amount of money, right? How am I meant to bring that in? And this is a question I always ask my clients, especially those who are entrepreneurs, is for whatever your financial goal is, what's the most pleasurable way? If you could create it any way, what's the most pleasurable way that you feel like creating it right now? What would feel best to you? What would feel lightest? What would feel most enjoyable? And I would really look at that, Lisa, in your business too, of what feels light, what feels fun. I know in my own life, I've often, and many times last year, and no doubt many times this year too, been asked to pivot in terms of either strategy or program offering, and not get too attached to things being any given way, especially if you're like going down a path and things are working and they're chugging along and it's flowing, and then it's like suddenly the faucet just stops and turns off. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, but you're being invited to pivot. You're being invited to redirect. So I would just look at that. And maybe there's a really creative way that you can do it, right? Like you're saying, I don't need them to travel just to book it. So how can you, if you still feel divinely guided that, no, it's still like, my focus is still here in travel. Well, what does that pivot look like? And how could I make it really exciting for people to do that now? And what am I being invited to do differently, or see differently, or shift in how I'm showing up, so that I'm not a victim of circumstances, because none of us are. And I can still achieve my goal just in a different way than maybe I intended to. So I hope that makes sense. Scott, the podcast, I think on the lessons from the first $1 million year, that should be out in 2 to 3 weeks with our production schedule, but it's She Sells Radio is the podcast, if you're not familiar. So no judgments from me, except elected officials or high C-level who do wrong things. Yeah. And that's what I always share with clients too, is like, money's just a tool, and it's neither good nor bad. It depends on who's using it. So it's just like a knife, right? In the hands of a 5-star chef, it's going to create a beautiful meal that you can enjoy with a loved one. And in the hands of a murderer, it's going to go out and kill. So money's no different. It's all about, we make money wrong, but it's not that. It's, well, what are the intention of the person who has it, right? So that's why I'm always a big fan of, for my clients, because I know they're like high level people there, and for our community, right? Like, you want to do good in the world. You have a good heart. Like, it's really good and important for you to have a lot of resources so that you can go out there and do that. So I love this conversation, by the way, in the comments. Jen is saying, my money mindset is constantly improving because of Elyse's teachings. Thank you. What she shared here, and also in the 10K. Oh, thank you, Jen. I love you. I appreciate that so much. Okay, good. So that's the first, is stop making money wrong. And if that triggered you at all, which it would have triggered the old me, which is totally okay, there's some conditioning you get to work through in your money mindset. So we don't get upset about it. We don't make ourselves wrong for it, but we just get curious. Ooh, what's that? What's that belief system I have about money that's making me make it wrong and that's not serving me at my next level? Because the version of you who's really financially abundant doesn't make money wrong, right? Second, you have to know that you are worthy. You are worthy. And this was also a big hang up for me. I get to teach all the things that were big hang ups and that I still get to work through at new levels every day. You are worthy of having what you want and what you deserve and desire. And my conditioning also, maybe you can relate to this, I don't know, but growing up in very conservative religious upbringing, is what I'll say, and singing songs about I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. And then you look at, for me, it was a lot of like comparing myself to women I saw in magazines, comparing myself to supermodels. I mean, I did a lot of that when I was a teenage girl with acne and who felt really awkward. And it was this very, very much a belief system and a paradigm I created in my life of unworthiness. And so I didn't realize how this applied to money. I accepted a lot of situations in my life that now I would never accept, but also financially, I was willing to accept having always just enough to pay the bills, but never more, and always being in that scarcity conditioning. So whatever the financial goal is for you, you will only bring in the amount of money you feel worthy of receiving. That's it. You will only bring in how much you feel worthy of receiving. This is something I say in my keynote, is your income, your level of income will never exceed your level of self-worth. So we have to practice worthiness. We have to learn to practice worthiness. And that can look a lot of different ways for you, my friend, but it can look like everything from accepting compliments and not needing to immediately deflect back. How many of us have done that, right? I'm raising my hand as someone who's done that. I say, oh, you look great today. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, so do you. You look so good. And it's like, not that we don't want to pay people compliments, we do, but are you willing to just bask in the spotlight of someone else's appreciation without having to get the attention off of you? Are you check in, like, how worthy do you feel of making 6 figures or 7 figures or 8 or 9 figures, whatever your goal is? How worthy do you feel of that? And practice. This is why I carry a goal card and I have my clients carry goal cards too. Practice for the version of you that's on your goal card. How worthy does that person feel? Do they have a problem accepting money? Do they have a problem accepting clients? Do they have a problem accepting praise? No, right? So practice that worthiness and just I always say, like, it's like you're acting until you're not anymore. So practice that. And then the third, and this applies to any goal, and I love this because you can make it fun. You have to just decide that it's easy. Decide it's easy. So this is I would go back and you can reference the series I did last April on how to release resistance to what you want. It's on my YouTube channel. But what I have learned, it's very counterintuitive to what we're taught. We are taught, if you want to make more money, it has to be hard. If you want to achieve this goal, it's going to be hard, more work, harder work. Well, I tried it that way. I tried it that way most of my life. And I achieved a certain level of success and then kept bumping up against a ceiling and was dealing with health issues, emotional issues, etc. It wasn't fun. And I finally just kind of reached the point where I was like, maybe there's another way. Like, it doesn't make sense intellectually to me that if I let it be easier, I'll make more money. It doesn't jive with the conditioning that I received growing up. But what I'm doing isn't working. So maybe I'll just be open-minded to there's another way. And what I have learned in my own life is that the easier we let it be and the easier we decide it's going to be, and the more fun we're having along the way, the faster what we want comes in. And this is when you start to study quantum physics, when you start to study the science behind this and the energy behind this. When you're in that gripping death grip, do or die scarcity energy, you literally are depleting your energy field around your body because you're in survival mode. You're not in creation mode, you're in survival mode. And your brain is flipping off the creative parts of it that allow you to create new ideas and have new and receive those downloads. And those, if you've ever had that like just divinely inspired idea that you took action on and it just boom, like changed your life, right? And everything you wanted came in much easier, much faster. Let me know in the comments if you've had that happen, or give me a heart on Instagram if you've had that happen. That's, you don't get that when you're in survival mode. You don't. When you're in survival mode, it's about being on the defense. It's about pulling back. It's about contracting. So we have to learn, and it takes daily conscious awareness and sometimes hour by hour or minute by minute conscious awareness of our state, of who we're being. But we have to learn to match the energy ahead of time before the event happens with how we think we're going to feel after it happens. When we're in that energy, which is, whatever money you want, the reason you really want it, if you boil it down, is for a feeling that you think it's going to create. Like if you really look at it, we do everything for the emotional payoff of it. So you think it's going to create a feeling of freedom, of ease, of relaxation, of peace, whatever that feeling is. So here's where you get to take massive responsibility and empowerment in your life, is you can manage and control your feelings and your emotional state before the event happens outside of you. And when you do that, you actually become an energetic match for it first, which means it's going to be easier for it to come into you. And you're going to have more ideas that are in alignment with that vision being created that you're going to act on. So you're going to get, it's like, you can come at it from one of two ways. You can come at it from this is hard, I've got to push, I've got to force, I've got to take a lot of heavy action energy, and you can get there, but it's going to take you a long time. So that's option A, and that's how most of the world works, and you can totally do that. That is your choice. I have done that. I don't recommend it though. Option B is you get open to the idea that what if by letting it be easier, it could happen faster? What if instead of about hard hustling action, it was about inspired action? And what if it was more about who I was being than what I was doing? And let me just get open-minded to that. It may defy everything that I've been taught. It may defy my conditioning, but let me look at my results and see, am I at where I want to be? And has my experience of it been enjoyable so far? And if not, maybe I'll get open-minded to another way. So I just open your mind there. And one of the things I affirm that has literally become true in my life, and my clients do this too, and it happens for them. The easier I let it be, the more money I make. That is it. And when we make that our belief system and our decision, then that gets to become our reality. So whatever your goal is, what if it was easy? Do you already feel, when you think about it that way, do you already feel maybe a little bit less tension in your chest? Do you already feel maybe a little less like weight on your shoulders of, oh, gosh, I guess I can maybe relax a little bit about this? And as you feel that, you can know that you're actually dropping resistance to your goal happening, which is going to allow it to happen faster for you. So that energy is going to make a big, big, big difference for you. And so those are your three. So stop making money wrong. Number 2, know that you're worthy. Number 3, decide it's easy. That is it. And Martin on Instagram, good morning, my friend. It's so good to see you. Michelle, good morning. I'm so glad it's speaking to you. Yeah, it takes courage to think this way and to be willing to try showing up this way, because it's the opposite of what most of us have been taught. So I always, even when I share this, it's like I get to kind of be willing to be either criticized or not understood, which is fine, because it's not how most of the world thinks, but it's how most of the world thinks, and the results most of the world has isn't what you want. It's not what you're here for, right? So Um, so I would just say, try it this way this week, like try it this way and see what happens and see if your results aren't a little bit better doing it this way. So Michelle's saying the easier I let it be, the more money I make. Yes, exactly. I would affirm that every single day and just watch, just track your results with everything. I'm always a believer in like, test what I'm saying, test it for yourself. And if you find it's not true, then you get to make different rules for yourself. But I've never found this not to work for anyone that I know or coach. So, but test it, run your own experiment on it and make your own conclusions. You have to do that. So, I want to invite you to, if you haven't signed up for this week's coaching intensive, ElyseArcher.com/workshop is where you can go sign up. It's happening this Wednesday and Thursday. It's a 2-day live coaching intensive. It's specifically for women who want to break through 6 figures this year. And I'm so excited to be spending time with you and pouring into you and just, empowering you to shift whatever needs to be shifted in your life so that you can create more financial abundance and flow, create more sales, create more opportunities, but do it in a way that feels better to you than any other way you've ever gone for a goal before. So again, ElyseArcher.com/workshop to get registered for that. Jen is saying, I love that. Sometimes I actually get nervous or scared that I'm feeling or visualizing wrong and the outcome will not be what I'm intending it to be. Yeah. And I'm so glad you shared that. I've learned in my own life, if nervousness or fear pops up, that's not really a time I go visualize. That's not a time because worry is just negative visualization and we get what we focus on, right? That's more a time to just pause and look at, where did I let some old conditioning slip in? And where did I let some old emotional addiction pop up? And where am I giving away my future for the sake of that old emotional addiction? And how can I get back into my heart right now? And how can I open back up my heart? And then from that energy of ease and of gratitude, that's where we go back and we lean back into our future. And it's from that energy that we create most powerfully. So I loved seeing each of you today. It was so good to see you. This is now that we're back from our Florida retreat, I think this time, like 9 Eastern on Mondays, is when you can expect me. So I would love if you enjoy this content, put it on your calendar. I will be here Monday mornings at 9 Eastern, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for the hearts. Any way I can help support you, send me a DM. And again, if you want to register for this week's live coaching intensive, ElyseArcher.com/workshop. So I'm wishing you a beautiful Monday, a beautiful week. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.